Welcome back to the channel, it's Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear, and Starfield's one of those games that has a lot packed into it. Of course, you've got questing and all of the RPG elements associated with that. You've got combat, spaceships, and then the part that I've been actively avoiding, outpost building. Now, I never really warmed up to settlements in Fallout 4 for various reasons, and up until 2 days ago, I have not touched this element of Starfield. And here's where the drama begins, as behind the scenes, I had received a DM from a friendly and known source touting this outpost build and all of its strengths. Less than 1,000 credits in total resources cost to get started. It's super easy, no skill points required, which is great because I've not used a single skill point into this aspect of the game. And the best part, you get tons of credits and XP, apparently making it the best outpost resource and XP farm for beginners in the entire game. And by the way, all of this is absolutely true about this build. It is simply incredible. But what was not disclosed to me is that my step-by-step guide contained in the DM was actually the exact build posted by Vash Cow AI to their channel almost a week ago, which I found out when I posted my build guide and was put on notice for my oversight. I tend to live life in a social bubble of sorts, with YouTube recommendations completely disabled, and most of the time, if it isn't related to Formula 1 or LFC highlights, I'm not interested. But in the future, my verification and research processes will be much stricter. And all credit goes out to Vash and his excellent Starfield Outpost build guide. Link to his video can be found in the video description and pinned comments below. Thank you again for all the awesome levels of support you've continued to show my Starfield uploads. In case you haven't yet done so, please hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alert. Likes, comments, shares are greatly appreciated. Chapters are available for easy viewing, and let's get this one going. Okay, so before you go planetside and begin your outpost building, you need to make sure you have these basic resources in the amounts I'm about to show you. 14 aluminum, 2 beryllium, 10 cobalt, 2 fiber, which by the way is optional, but is highly recommended, 20 iron, 15 nickel, 16 tungsten, and 2 zero wire. And if that went a little too fast for you, check in the pinned comment below. This shopping list will be included. Now, all of this can easily be sourced at Jemison Mercantile in New Atlantis. And if you bought everything, including the fiber, you just spent shy of 950 total credits. Next, you want to hit the star map, and instead of heading to the Nerion system and planet Androphon, which is highly popular, we are instead going to head a little bit northwest of Alpha Centauri to the Bessel system, and more specifically, Bessel 3b. And we're going to be choosing this specific planet for our outpost for two massive reasons. Number one is the specific resources that can be found here on Bessel, and number two, it is one of the absolute best universal time to local time conversions found on this moon in the entire game, and more on this in a moment. Once you arrive at Bessel 3b, first scan the planet and then look for this region on the planet that looks like a giant red island. Now, this specific area is actually a seam between 3 different biomes. You've got mountains, hills, and rocky desert, which will also give us access to 3 different resources: iron, aluminum, and nickel. This is where you're going to spend 90% of your prep time looking for this specific pixel. And for me on PC, I ended up turning down my DPI to the absolute lowest settings. But you will begin setting landing destinations, picking them up, moving over a pixel, setting another destination point until you have found the area where the mountains, hills, and rocky desert are all touching together. Probably best to save just before attempting this so you don't pollute the planet with landing zones, keeping it fresh in case you need to reload and try again. My tip here would be, out of the 3 zones available, choose to land in the mountains. And you'll want to see this big black mountain kind of butted up against the lighter colored hills biome, along with the mixture of colors out into the rocky desert. Now, at the base of this black mountain is where we are headed. And once we get close, we activate our scanner by pressing F on PC, and then press R to pull out your outpost beacon. And this will tell us what resources are currently available within range of our beacon. Now, it's going to take a bit of roaming around, moving the beacon all over the place, but right about here at the base of the mountain, you will find 5 available resources, all within range, including nickel, cobalt, aluminum, and iron. And here's where the easy part begins. Once you find the right area, place down your beacon, and it will immediately toss you into the scanner outpost builder setup. I personally like to toggle a view over to bird's eye, so I press V on PC, and then you're going to want to find extractors from the upper right-hand corner build menu. Hunt around for the highlighted aluminum area on the ground. It looks light gray in color, and you're going to place down the aluminum extractor. Keeping that build menu open, scroll over to the power tab, and you're going to want to place down 2 wind turbines near that aluminum extractor. Now, power is transmitted wirelessly in your outpost zone, so no need to lay down power cables between the wind turbines and the extractor. Also, with your build menu still activated, toggle over to furniture, and you're going to want to build a bed here at the outpost. You can sleep on your ship if it has a bed, but that will involve fast traveling to it, as your ship is not currently parked at your outpost. Your call on this one, but once at your bed, select to rest for just 1 hour local time, because we need to let the aluminum extractor fill up. Now, when you activate your sleep menu is where you're going to get to see why Bessel is so damn great for setting up an outpost on. You see, 1 hour local time is almost equivalent to 58 hours universal time, and extractors operate on UT. So when you rest here for 1 hour local time, your extractor has been working for nearly 60 hours, making your time spent on planet super efficient. And FYI, Bessel's almost 10 times more efficient than farming on Androphon, which has a local time to UT conversion of only about 6 hours. So again, Bessel is about 10 times better in this regard. And as far as I know, Bessel is one of the 2 planets in the game with this assortment of resources, and behind Venus has the 2nd highest time conversion in the entire game. Anyways, back to it. While you were sleeping that 1 hour local time, near 60 hours UT has passed. Our aluminum extractor has been working in the background, and our next task is to build 3 more wind turbines. So press F to open your scanner, R to enter Outpost Builder, and then I press V for top-down view. Find power modules in the top right-hand build menu, and you want to lay down 3 more of these. Next, you will need to create and place a cobalt extractor and a nickel extractor. Just look for the highlighted colors on the ground and place them. Now, with these 3 resource extractors at work, we have all the necessary resources to build as many wind turbines as needed. I would recommend a few more here. And finally, we're going to want to build our iron extractor. Follow the same steps as the other extractors. Find the highlighted iron zone in your outpost, build your iron extractor, find your bed, and again, sleep for 1 hour. Now that you're awake, it's time to build an industrial workbench. Just press F for scanner, R for outpost builder, find industrial workbench in the top right build menu. I'm staying in first person view for this one. Find a suitable area and create your workbench. Now, since you're building on the planet's surface, you may need to look for a suitably flat area to lay your bench. Next, interact with your workstation, and now the party begins, because we have unlimited sources of iron, nickel, cobalt, and aluminum, and we also have an industrial workbench. The iron and aluminum can be used to make adaptive frames, and the cobalt and nickel for iso-centered magnets. And since we have so many resources on tap, we can craft these things in maxed out batches, 99 at a time. And each time we craft an item, we get XP that is also enhanced by sleeping on our bed by an extra 10% for 24 minutes, or 15% if you have a romance companion with you, and that applies to crafting these items. But our resource capacity is severely limited right now, and each time we sleep for an hour, our extractors are extracting for nearly 60 UT hours, meaning they're going to be filling up their internal storage units long before we're done with our 1 hour nap. So we next need to increase our storage by a lot. So Pop open your scanner, press R to enter Outpost Builder, and we're going to be looking for storage in the top right hand of the screen, and specifically solid storage. And if you take a look, these require iron and aluminum, which we have through our extractors, along with adaptive frames, which we just made at the workbench. Go ahead and build one for each resource. So iron, aluminum, cobalt, and nickel, and we will of course expand our storage capacity later. But for now, go ahead and toggle the tab key to enter modify mode. Go to each extractor, press the right-hand mouse button to highlight that extractor, and then you're going to be creating a line between that specific extractor and the storage containers. Now, once you reach the correct storage container, press right mouse button again to link the extractor with the correct storage container. So each resource will be sent by its extractor to the correct storage container, and nothing else is required here to make this work. Now, once the connections are made between each extractor and the specific storage units, go ahead and beef up the capacity. Now, I stacked a bunch more storage units on top of the original unit I placed, but you could do this in a block or lines all touching the ground. And other than crafting the adaptive frames at the bench, all resources at the outpost are available for building, so you don't have to empty the containers or extractors to gain access to the building materials. Now, we need to link the lines of storage units together, or else the only unit that will be filled with resources is the unit that has the resource supply line attached to it. In my case, with these stacks of storage units, only the bottom floor unit will receive resources and store them unless we link all the units together, and here's how you do that. Press F for scanner, R for outpost builder, but instead of build mode, we want to again press tab to get into modify mode, and for this one, I prefer to stay in first person view. Now just go to the first storage unit in the chain and press right mouse button to highlight it, and then move your cursor to the next unit in the line and again press right mouse button. So you have now linked the first and second unit together. And just repeat this step, second to third, third to fourth, over and over until all the storage units in that block are linked together. Now the resources will flow to the end of the chain and begin backfilling up to the first unit, making use of all available space. By the way, don't miss this important step, or only the first unit will fill up, wasting valuable resources. Now, take another 1 hour nap, and at this point our resource containers are getting mostly full, so it's time to hit the workbench and start spam crafting adaptive frames and isocentric magnets, much like we did in Skyrim with iron daggers and leather bracers to improve our smithing. So at this point, you've got pretty much all the basics in place. The extractors are working, you've got storage, both of which you will want to increase later on. The storage units are easy enough, as we have all the resources here on Bessel, but you'll need additional tungsten to build more extractors. So the next visit to a starport picks them up so you can build out more of those as well, increasing extraction and filling up our storage units even faster. But right now, the first priority is to build a landing pad with Shipbuilder, and you have all the necessary beryllium and zero wire from that original shopping list, along with iron and adaptive frame, which we can mine or craft here at the outpost. And a tip for this one, build the landing pad as close as possible to your industrial workbench, because you will constantly be encumbered with adaptive frame and isocentric magnets. And the shorter the walk, the better. Now, to get the ship to spawn in on the pad, interact with the terminal at the top of the pad, enter Shipbuilder, and immediately exit without making any changes, and your ship should appear next to you on this landing pad. At this point, we've got the sequence in place. Sleep for an hour or two to get the XP well-rested bonuses, spam craft adaptive frames and isocentric magnets at the workbench, hop into your ship, fly to a vendor to sell them, netting us XP for the crafting and credits for the sales of the goods. I like to alternate around between the Trade Authority vendors on Cheyenne and the Den Space Station, along with the bartender at the Red Mile on Porrima 3, as all of them have 10k plus credits on hand and can take those goods off you very quickly. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I had not touched a shred of Outpost building up until a few days ago, and began my building adventures with a character rank in the low to mid 50s. And even for me, although the XP gains are not mind-blowing, I can normally pick up a skill point in about 5 to 10 minutes, including traveling in my ship to the different vendors and offloading those crafted items. It's also got me far more involved in crafting projects to unlock more advanced features for my outpost. Here's that same starter outpost now, mostly upgraded, and thanks to this awesome beginner build, I dove in and got my outpost feet wet, and it has been non-stop earning and rank ups ever since. I've also dabbled with supply lines, both in and out of the system, along with some other more advanced concepts, and it was all thanks to this awesome beginner setup. Feel free to leave me some feedback, and I welcome anything Starfield related in the comments section below. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are greatly appreciated. All my socials can be found in the video description below. Shout out to the now over 164,000 of you that have stuck with me and hit subscribe, and a special thanks goes out to my patrons and to those of you firing over those awesome YouTube super chats. Until the next one, this is Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear, signing off.